It's allergy season. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the 20 books that I want to read in 2020. One of the books I want to read in 2020 is The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. It was the 2019's Goodreads Choice Awards winner for Best Fiction. It is the follow-up to The Handmaid's Tale. If any of you don't know what The Handmaid's Tale is, please get out from that rock you're living under. But it starts 15 years after that, and we are following the explosive testaments of 3 different female narrators from Gilead. So I'm not sure how I feel about this book yet. I really liked The Handmaid's Tale, but I think it was just because it was such an original dystopian idea, and personally in the Hulu show, I'm not really a big fan currently at the moment of the last season. The previous seasons were absolutely amazing and stunning and scary. The last season, I don't know. I'm not 100% sold. But that's also in the show. The book could be good. The book, I think, is like 422 pages, so it almost qualifies for me as a big book, which a big book is anything over 450 pages. Because I know a lot of books over that threshold anyway tend to like have smaller writing in order not to pass that threshold for people. So it's still like a really long book for me. And anything over like the usual like 350 pages can kind of just at least take me an extra day or so, and sometimes an extra day can kind of make or break my reading schedule. The next book I'm really excited to read is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I'm also excited to read the second book to that, which is Vengeful. It's currently a duology, although there are talks of it ever being turned into a trilogy. Everyone I know talks about the Villain series. Basically, it's about 2 friends in college that find a way to develop superpowers, but instead of using them for good and becoming superheroes, they use it to become supervillains. And 10 years after one of them is thrown in prison, he wants to fight. Allergy season really sucks. Basically, Victor breaks out of prison and wants to fight with his old friend Eli. And that's all I really know. I don't want to know anything else. I kind of tend to want to know as little as possible about the books, other than like, here's the general synopsis. I've even read books that are just like, hey, it has this theme in it. And I'm like, that sounds good. I'm gonna try it. Sometimes when I'm like halfway through reading the book, I'll actually go back and read like the cover, and I'll be like, oh, that makes more sense now. Because sometimes it does help a little bit to read those, but sometimes I just want to go in like completely blind. There are technically more than 20 books on this list because I think a few of them have 2 books in a series I want to finish reading or start. Also coming up next, I have The Wicked King and the Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, which are the second and third installments in the, I think it's the Folk of Air series. Let me double check. Yes, the Folk of Air series. Please just go read it. It's the Folk of Air series. I'm sorry. The first book is The Cruel Prince, and surprise, it has a cruel prince in it. I really actually expected to hate it, but I ended up loving the series, and I already have The Wicked King here for me to read. The gas is out. You're also probably gonna see a lot of those burps coming up, probably in almost every single video, because I'm just not gonna filter them out. Burps happen. Enjoy them. If you don't like them, you probably just should never watch my channel, but I will probably never fart for you. That's mean. For The Wicked King and the Queen of Nothing, it's still following Jude, and it's continuing on after they realize, dun dun dun, spoilers, that her younger brother Oak is actually the heir to the fairy after like the whole court basically crumbled. After the whole crow, you know what? I just don't want to talk about it. I know it's about the fairy world, and that's not really my thing either, but I ended up really liking it because Jude is such a strong main character with, I'm gonna call her evil twin sister Taryn. Also, Taryn, it sounds like Karen. I hate Taryn. I think she's like one of the worst characters. I don't know. I hate her. We barely see Taryn, but I still hate the shit out of her. I'm really excited to read both of those books in 2020. Okay, the next one on my list is The Institute by Stephen King. He won the 2019 Goodreads Choice Award for Best Horror for this book. It is over 500 pages. It's a big book. It's basically about a child whose parents are murdered, and he's taken to this institute with other kids who have abilities, kind of like 11 from Stranger Things, where they have like telekinesis or whatever it's called. And they have different like abilities. That's all I really want to know about it. It seems a little Stranger Things-esque, but my problem with Stephen King is I like how his books start and they have great ideas, but they don't always end well for me, or they don't end in a way that I would like. I was thinking about doing a reading vlog dedicated to this book, just to also motivate myself to read it, because I have to read this book by the end of next week, because I can't renew it from the library, because all my books came at the exact same time. The next book I'm really excited to read is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Yep, really excited. It is a male-male romance, and it won the 2019 Goodreads Choice Awards for Best Romance. I think it's kind of a young adult, new adult thing. I don't think it's super saucy, but I'm really excited because it basically starts in an alternate universe where the 2016 elections turned out differently and a woman became president and her son falls in love with the Prince of Wales. And it's kind of a little bit of like a hate to love romance, and every freaking person on BookTube has apparently loved this book and put it in their top favorites of 2019, so I'm really excited to read it. I actually picked it up from the library, and it's one of the only books I have that have been paperback. I think it's the only book from the library that I've gotten since November that has been in paperback format. Don't know why that excites me so much, but it does. The tagline is, "What happens when America's first son falls in love with the Prince of Wales?" We'll see how my first like real romance in years is gonna go, because the last romance I read was a DNF. Does anyone else get like super dehydrated when they wake up? But then you forget to drink water and then you go get a coffee instead. The next book I'm really excited to read is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. A lot of booktubers for their like Halloween / fall time books. This was a really big one apparently. It's a young adult fantasy. It's over 500 pages. I actually just picked it up from the library yesterday because it came in way earlier than expected. Again, my library has just been on fire. Apparently 2 years prior, this girl named Lou fled her coven. She's a witch, and she took shelter and forsook all magic and was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And basically, her fate is supposed to intertwine with this witch hunter, and they have to get married. I'm assuming they obviously fall in love and make feelings. That's what happens, boys and girls. You make feelings. I'm assuming that they get feelings. They get feelings. They catch feelings. They catch feelings for each other, fall in love, even though they're already married. So anyway, I'm excited to read that. I really don't want to know much else, but when I just like skimmed the first couple of pages, and it starts in a brothel, so I'm excited. The next book I want to read is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This was a runner-up for the 2018 Goodreads Choice Awards for Best Historical Fiction? Yes. It's still on the New York bestseller list. It's like always up there, and it's crazy. I actually own this book, so I'm really excited. Actually, let me go grab that. I actually own this book. I got it from my coworker. Shout out to Lily. Basically, this is about the rumors of a marsh girl that has been haunting a quiet town in the North Carolina coast. Blah, blah, blah. Apparently, this is an exquisite ode to the natural world, a heartbreaking coming-of-age story, and a surprising tale of possible murder. I don't know. I haven't really even skimmed through this. I just kind of want to go into it blind. I mean, that's the synopsis, and I'm trying not to think about it because I just want to try this for itself. I don't know. Plus, I'm also just really excited to own a book because so many of mine are library books. It's so exciting. And in the back it says more than 3 million copies sold. So I'm hoping this is really good. I mean, I'm assuming. Oh, it's so weird holding like a brand new book. I feel so riche. The next book I really want to read is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this book is from the best-selling author of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It was the 2019 Goodreads Choice Award for Best Historical Fiction. I actually got the book in book form from the library, and I realized that the booktubers I were watching did not lie at all. it really is in complete interview format. And for me, I just couldn't get into it, like, reading-wise. I was like, yeah, this is probably a better idea to do it for the audiobook, and then I had to wait for the freaking audiobook forever. It was like, oh, you'll get it in 2 weeks. Almost 2 months later, I finally just got it. So I'm excited to start reading and getting going on this. It's all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. No one knows the reason behind their famous split in 1979 at their Chicago concert. And basically the entire book is going up to that point and seeing what happened and what transpired. And I'm really excited to get going on this, especially because it's audiobook, so it's kind of a little bit easier for me to fit it into my schedule, because at work I can listen to stuff, which is great because I can listen to music or podcasts, and audiobooks obviously fits in really well right there. So I'll probably finish it within a couple days, and you'll probably see it in one of my reading vlogs. The next book I'm super excited to read is, oh my god, I have this book! Oh my god, where did I put it? But this is The Toll by Neal Shusterman. This is the third book in the Arc of a Scythe series. I can't say that. It is the third book in the Arc of a Scythe series. I'm very, very freaking excited for this. It's also a big book. It's, oh god, it's past 600 pages, but I'm going to assume I'm going to love every second, because I loved the first two novels in this series, which are Scythe and Thunderhead. This is a young adult sci-fi series in a world basically where everything is perfect and no one dies anymore, and if you get hit by a car, you could get put back together. So they have to have scythes, which are people who kill other people. They call it gleaning, and it's a sanctified service, and it's kind of like a sacred, wonderful thing, and it's very special, and everyone treats all the scythes with respect. And they have to glean to take the population under control. So they have to choose randomly, but some scythes are not so random. They can kill people however they want, which is really weirdly fascinating to see all the different methods, and it's kind of clinical on how to approach this stuff, but I really, really enjoy this. Like, it's not super character heavy. It's really good for the plot, and for me, like, that's sometimes all I need. And I do love the actual characters and the arcs they've made, and like what actually happens is, to me, like, everything kind of keeps going like the right direction. So I'm really excited to see what happens, but basically we have had some really bad guys along the way, and scythes who were killing more for the glory and doing mass murders, which was not really a thing that was super allowed, but not explicitly said they couldn't. So it's kind of a gray area. A lot of these characters are very morally gray, which I think is really great for me as like a reader. I personally enjoy people that aren't like always the good guy or always the bad guy. It's kind of like, because we all are good guys or bad guys in someone else's story. So I enjoy morally gray characters, and I'm so freaking excited to get started on this. This will probably, I'm hoping I can do this in March or April, but with all my books I have lined up coming from the library, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to it any sooner, but I know I'm gonna love it, so I just need to start doing it. The next book I want to read is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. It is being turned into a Hulu adaptation as far as I know. And I just saw like the trailer for it on Hulu, so I want to start reading this as soon as possible. I have it requested from my library because I want to, you know, read the book and then watch the show. It has Reese Witherspoon in it, and I think Kerry Washington. And apparently it's kind of like a intense suburban drama involving kids and adoption, a single mother and her daughter moving to a close-knit town, and basically secrets are uncovered. It is a 2017 Goodreads Choice Awards for fiction. It won the award for Best Fiction. So I'm really excited to read it. The cover is beautiful. I'm really excited to just go into it, and I kind of like just like good contemporary sometimes, because I do enjoy like fantasy and stuff, but sometimes it's nice to just enjoy like somewhat normal everyday things. The next one I want to read is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. It is also a really big book. It is over 500 pages, and she's the author of the ever popular The Night Circus. I have not read any of her books. Everyone keeps talking about The Starless Sea, and it's basically about this character discovers a mysterious books in the stacks of his campus library, and when he's reading it, he finds a story with him as a child, I believe, and he realizes that if he would have like taken this door or whatever as a child, his story would be completely different. And I think it kind of throws him through a loop. And I don't want to know much more than that, but I think it's obviously maybe a little time travel-y. I heard it's kind of confusing. And it's also about like alternate choices, you know, like if he would have gone through this is how his life would have gone. And someone wrote a book about him as like a person. So it's kind of like that Stranger Than Fiction movie. I don't know if you guys remember that with like Will Ferrell. And everything she wrote was his life. And that's kind of what it reminds me of. So I hope it's like that. We're going to find out. It is so much work talking for more than like 5 minutes to yourself during allergy season. The next book I want to read is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Everyone and their mom has been talking about this book, and I just want to read it. I just want to get it over with. I want to see if I like it. It's over 450 pages. It's a 2019's Goodreads Choice Award winner for Best Fantasy, and it's the #1 Alex Stern book, so I'm assuming there's going to be more. They're making more books for the series. Also, I'm kind of pissed. Why would you name a series after the main character whenever apparently the main character isn't even that great? Her name is Alex Stern. Galaxy Alex Stern. Why can't you use the freaking thing cooler? Apparently it's about secret societies in Yale. Why couldn't you put Secret Society #1 as the name of the series? Like, I'm not Leigh Bardugo. I'm not this best-selling fantasy author, so I don't know. Who am I to judge? I'm just a reader. And a writer, but not published yet. Well, that's not true, but we'll talk about that later. Apparently, Alex was raised by a hippie mom in LA, and now she's going to Yale, and she has like this secret ability to see ghosts, as far as I know, and she's helping with their secret societies. I have no idea. I don't want to know anything else. It's kind of confusing, especially when you actually haven't read the book, so I'm not sure. I'm excited to read it. Everyone's talking about it. I'm just gonna join the bandwagon on this one. And you should too. The next book I want to read is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski, and that is the first book in the Witcher series. I actually requested The Blood of Elves, which is the first book in the Witcher series. However, I realized that there were 2 previous books that were written later, I believe they're written later, that predate The Blood of Elves' first book. So the one I'm going to read is The Last Wish, which is another big book. It's over 450 pages as well. It's the start of the Witcher series, so it's 0.5 of the Witcher series, and I think the next one is 0.75, and then it goes to The Blood of Elves. So I have all those requested currently, and then 2 of them frozen waiting for The Last Wish, because I want The Last Wish first, obviously, because I'm going to try to read them in order, but apparently it's a book of short stories about the Witcher, whose name is Geralt of Rivia. He's a cunning sorcerer. I can't say sorcerer. Sorcerer. He is a cunning sorcerer. Sorcerer. You know how you start saying a word, you start losing all meaning? That's what's happening. He's also a merciless assassin and a cold-blooded killer. He sounds like my type of person. I'm very excited to read about him. I know that, I think it's Henry Cavill? I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's in the Witcher series on Netflix, which is what sparked my interest because I've kind of heard about it, but when I saw there was a Netflix show, I was like, before I watch this, I have to read the books. Or at least read up to the point that the show was at. Next book on my list is Recursion by Blake Crouch. He is a fantastic author. I read Dark Matter from him. Recursion won 2019 Goodreads Choice Award for Best Science Fiction, and of course science fiction is one of my favorites, so I had to read it. I don't want to tell you anything else. I will give you the spoiler that I've already read most of this book because it came through the freaking library and I'm gonna freaking read it as soon as it's here. And it's all about false memory syndrome, where people all of a sudden will get a nosebleed and remember a past life of theirs that they never lived. And it's plaguing the nation, and it's causing some people to commit suicide and go crazy because they're remembering all of these past memories. I can't tell you anything else more than that. You just have to read for yourself to find out the crazy shit that goes down in this book. So that's on my list for one of those books I have to read this year, and I can't wait to finish it. The next book on my list is Cersei by Madeline Miller. This won the 2018 Goodreads Choice Award for Best Fantasy. This is a Grecian epic about the tale of Cersei and her coming of age as a witch. So I'm really excited to read this. I've heard a lot of people say it's kind of like a slow burn, and it is like a beautiful Grecian epic, and it just kind of reads like that. Like that, well, I think, was it Odysseus? I don't remember what the heck that was we read in school. Ulysses? But anyway, I'm really excited to read this. It seems really beautiful, and it's all about her, like, finding her power as a witch and fighting back against the gods and goddesses. that she was raised by, because she's the daughter of Helios, which is like the sun god. Super, super excited to read this. And you'll probably see my review soon on that, because that's next on my list. The next book I want to read is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. This was a runner-up for the Goodreads Choice Awards for 2019 for, I think, Best Thriller. This woman takes a job as a nanny in this luxurious, smart home in the Scottish Highlands for this picture-perfect family. What she doesn't know is that she's stepping into a nightmare, one that will end with a child dead and herself awaiting her trial in prison. And some of the book is, well, I think the whole book perhaps is written from her perspective, writing to her lawyer, potentially, in prison, explaining why she's innocent. So I'm really, really excited. I don't know much more than that, and I can't wait to get started on that one either. The next book I want to read is The Unnie Mooners by Christina Lauren. This was suggested by Gabby Reads. I'm going to link her channel below. I absolutely love her and all of her reviews. She's fantastic. If you don't watch that much BookTube, or if you do watch a lot of BookTube, please go subscribe to her because you won't be sorry. It was her favorite book of the year, so I'm naturally very excited to read it. And it seems very atmospheric of the summertime. Her wedding party gets food poisoning, and I think it's the bride's sister and the groom's brother. It's Olive and Ethan, and they don't like each other, and now they're gonna be stuck in Hawaii on a honeymoon. They have to put aside their mutual hatred for each other and enjoy a free vacation, but while they're there, something happens and they have to pretend to be a couple, and I'm assuming they fall in love. So I'm really excited. I'm probably gonna request this closer to summertime because it's about Hawaii, and I think it'll just be a little bit easier if I could actually get into a pool at that time and enjoy myself rather than sitting inside my house smelling my neighbors smoking cigarettes outside. So yeah, I'm gonna wait till summertime probably to read this, but I'm really excited to read it. It's one of the top ones on my list, and I can't forget about it. I don't even have to write it down because I know I'm gonna read it. Secondly, something about this book that I feel like no one ever talks about on BookTube, and I've not ever heard one person say, is that Christina Lauren, who is the author of this book, is actually the combined pen name of two friends, Christina Hobbs and Lauren Billings. Never heard that. People just talk about Christina Lauren as one person, but it's actually two people. They're like it says they're like best friends, partners, besties, soulmates, brain twins. So that's actually pretty cool because a lot of times when people write books together, they have two very different styles, but it's kind of cool that they're like a pen name. So I didn't know that. So there's your fun tidbit for the day. The next book I want to read in 2020 is The Poppy War by R.F. Kang. It was the runner-up for 2018 Goodreads Choice Awards for Best Fantasy. Over 600 pages, there's already a second book out called The Dragon Republic. And there's not much else I know about it other than it's about the military, shamanism, and the main character being a warrior. And apparently it's very dark and very intense and very triggering. And that's all I want to know. I'm very excited. I keep hearing everyone talk about how some of their favorite books again at the end of the year of 2019. So I can't wait to jump into that. I haven't requested it yet, but once my books slow down a little bit and I have a little bit of breathing room in between books, I'll definitely be picking this back up. I actually own the next book I want to read, which is Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs by Caitlin Doughty. This won the 2019 Goodreads Choice Award for nonfiction. I actually watch her YouTube channel, and I'm going to link it below. It's called Ask a Mortician, and it's all about death, and she's actually a mortician. She's wrote, I think, 3 or 4 other books, maybe including this one, and I'm really excited to read this. It's basically about kids asking her little questions, and then, but I think it's about kids asking her questions and her answering them. There's also like cute cartoons in there, so I think this will be a really fun. Oh, this is from my stepdad. Thanks, Greg. I didn't realize there was a thing in there. What are these called? Lottery things. It's a scratcher. I didn't realize it was in the book. It just fell out when I opened it. Can I keep my parents' skulls after they die? Ah, yes, the old can I keep my relatives' skulls question. She's so funny and witty, and I think that that's why she's so successful, I think, on her YouTube channel and as a mortician, is because she takes this like lighthearted yet very respectful approach to death for people, and I really respect that. And she's so funny about it because people do have weird questions about death, and people don't always want to ask them to normal people because we don't know the answers. So I'm really excited to read this. Also, please go subscribe to her because she has almost 1 million subscribers. If you can help get her there, even better. Now, the last book I want to read of 2020 is Where the Forest Meets the Stars by Glendy Vandera. This was a runner-up for the 2019 Goodreads Choice Awards Award for Best Fiction. It's a contemporary, and basically after the loss of her mother, I think Joanna returns to rural Illinois. This child shows up at her cabin barefoot and with bruises, and the girl calls herself Ursa and claims to have been sent from the stars to witness 5 miracles. I like a little bit of like first contact with aliens. It's kind of a thing for me. So I'm really excited to read it. It sounds really beautiful, and that's it. I don't want to know much else, but if you want to try reading any of these books with me, just let me know. And if you've actually read any of these books, please let me know in the comments below what you think of them. And if there's any other books that you want me to read or review, or you have any idea for future videos or vlogs or anything that you'd like to see, I've had so many people already suggest what they would like to see, and I'm making lists accordingly. Thank you so much for watching. Leave comments below, and we'll talk to you soon.